Do you feel like you get stuck using the same round brushes all the time, whether it's a bigger one or a little one, always a round brush? Today's video is about using these flat brushes. A couple of fun little exercises that you can do to build a whole painting just using your flat brushes. See you in a minute. I saved these little pieces of paper that are from other projects so that I can test colors on top of them or use the back side. So if you've just got a piece of scratch paper, that's all you need for today. And after you practice this a bit, you can make this into a nice little painting. So I'm just using a number 4 flat brush, which is approximately, maybe it's like about a 1/2 inch flat. And I think it's important to do things with brushes other than your round brushes because we just get so stuck using those, and you can do fun stuff with all these other guys too. So let's start out with a couple of, we'll say palm leaves. Okay, so I'm right-handed, so you're going to see me probably turn this upside down in a bit, but I'm just using the corner of this brush to start up here at the top, making a little mark like that. And you can use the end of the brush to really make a real precise, crisp line if you want to, but we're just going to keep on going kind of down the page a little bit, and then use the chisel end, like the flat end of the brush, to connect those guys. Then maybe this time I might turn my brush a little bit on its corner, so I'm painting with just the corner a bit. And how about a little bit bigger one? Probably can't tell what it is yet, but eventually it'll be kind of cool. So I'm just starting, each time I'm starting out from where the stem of this plant is going to be, and then bringing my little brush stroke in towards the middle. Doesn't look like much yet, but it will, just trust me. So now here's the part where, since I'm right-handed, I'm going to turn it upside down. And now I'm going to follow the other side of the palm leaf with similar brush marks. I don't want this to be the same on both sides because I think it's more interesting if your brush marks are different and a little bit varied. I do leave a little blank channel of unpainted paper up the middle there because I like the way it looks, but you don't have to. If you go all the way up the middle there, you're fine. Okay, so you can see now this one is maybe one that I'm going to come up on the corner so I get a little bit skinnier. You don't always have to be stuck with a 1/2 inch like that. If you turn it on a little bit of an angle, you get kind of a skinnier brush stroke. And then here at the end, I'm just going to fill it out. All right, let's turn it back. And now, with reloading some paint on the end of my brush here, I can just give myself just a little quick mark for a stem, kind of like that. So with stem is there, and then up the middle, it's kind of a blank space. So that's just sort of a fun way to go. If you want to try the stem first, you can give yourself a nice maybe curve. If you get a skip in your line, don't worry about it. So you can see I skipped. And this could be two-sided like the one we just did, or we could do a one-sided guy where the palm leaf is going to just, you're only seeing half of it. Like it's kind of in the shape of maybe like a taco or folded. Sometimes you see them like that, or you're only seeing the profile of it. So same thing, I'm starting at the outside. This time, because I have that guide of the stem along the middle, it may help you to figure out where you've started from and where you want to end up. And again, each one of these is a little bit different. So each section or segment on here is different from the other. Need a little more paint there. Okay, so if you like that half, you can just keep it as a half, or you can fill it out like you did on that one. So those are a couple different kinds of palm leaves. And at the end, if you wanted to, you could come back in with the your brush loaded with some paint and kind of just straight down, just stamp almost. I know my hand's in the way and it's hard for you to see this, but you can stamp in some marks, kind of like leaf veins in there. Gets a little bit tricky on the smaller ones, so you could also just draw with them. Draw with your brush like that. Okay, so kind of stylized palm leaf. Another kind of palm leaf which I really enjoy doing, and they're pretty easy, is this. You want to start, imagine that you have a stem here and you want to start with your brush where the stem would be. So let's go like this. I'm going to go straight up and down, and then I'm going to keep them coming on down here. Whoops, they're getting a little bit wider there than I was expecting, but that's all right because it's nature and everything is irregular in nature. So with just stamping with the brush like that, I can get a really cool palm leaf. So that one was without a stem first. You don't really need a stem because your brain and your eye sort of trick each other, but if you want a stem, you can start like that, and you can start at the bottom or the top. So this time let's start at the bottom. And you can see as they get up towards the top, they point upwards more than outwards. Okay, and there's another kind of palm leaf. And then there's one other one that we can do. I'm going to need a different color here. By the way, try these in any color. If you do this one and you use lots of different colors and they bleed together, you can see how interesting it looks when your paints bleed together, and you'll know whether they're a good fit for some other kind of painting where you might want them to bleed together. So I'm making up a new paint over here on my palette. I'm going to use a little bit of yellow ochre and some sap green this time, just because I want a little bit of something different. And let's move to right over here. Okay, so this is the last kind of palm tree here. We're going to start with quick brush strokes, kind of like skinny fans. Okay, so there's one. Here's another one. Really irregular. So there's kind of two skinny fans, I guess you could call them, right there. Then I'm going to switch to my sap green paint, and now I'm going to make fans in the upward, going upward. So if we go right in here, there's one there. Maybe we'll make one up here a little higher. All you're doing is making simple lines. Maybe you want to fill in a little bit. Don't do too much at once. The top half of this palm tree is bigger. The bottom half is where it's kind of dying out a little bit. And the palm fronds are browning up a little bit, maybe. So you could take a little bit of your brown, touch it in the middle. Maybe you have a few small guys down in there. And then with whatever brown you have left on your brush, let's get right in there. And we'll bring the palm trunk down. You can thicken it up a little bit at the bottom, and there's a really quick palm tree. So now you have no excuse for not doing a Hawaii or a jungle painting. If you do, post it in the comments. That'd be fun to see. Thanks for watching.